The ardent horizon floated in the darkness of deep space, a lone spark of human ambition in an uncharted corner of the galaxy. Its hull reflected the dim light of distant stars, while its sensors scanned the dead planet below. The planet, a gray, cracked world, had long been considered lifeless, a forgotten remnant of some ancient system. Yet the readings were strange, almost alive. Captain Selene Rourke leaned over the main console, her brow furrowed. "I don't like this," she said. Her voice carried both authority and unease. "Every sensor indicates nothing but rock and dust, yet the energy signature, it's pulsing." Lieutenant Harold, her communications officer, glanced nervously at the console. "It's faint, Captain, but it's definitely not natural. Could be a beacon or a trap." Selene studied the readings for a long moment. "If it's a trap, then it's a very old one, and if it's a beacon, then someone or something is asking for help." She paused. "We're going closer. I want to know what we've found." The ship descended slowly toward the dead planet, its engines quiet against the void. Sensors traced the source of the signal, a hidden structure buried beneath layers of rock and metal. It wasn't a natural formation. It looked built, large, angular, and precise. Whoever had built it had wanted it hidden or had wanted it buried. "Captain," Harold said, tension rising in his voice. "This structure, it's massive, larger than any human city I've ever seen. And the readings, there's some kind of stasis field surrounding it." "Something's inside." Selene's eyes narrowed. "Life form? Unknown," Harold admitted. "The signal is repeating itself like a distress call, but it's in a frequency no human language can decode. It's alien." The crew of the Ardent Horizon exchanged uneasy glances. Humanity had explored distant star systems before, but this, whatever this was, felt different. There was something alive beneath that rock, something waiting. "Prepare the probes," Selene ordered. "I want a full scan, minimal interference. We don't touch anything until we know what we're dealing with." As the probes shot down into the hidden structure, the crew watched the readings climb. Energy levels spiked in irregular pulses, and then, without warning, the structure awakened. Alarms blared, red lights flashed. The sensors detected a vast energy surge moving outward from the planet across light years of empty space. "What is that?" one of the engineers shouted, staring at the readouts. Harold's face drained of color. "It's not just the structure, it's a fleet. Thousands of ships in stasis, activating at once." Selene's jaw tightened. "Fleet. Not human," Harold said, voice trembling. "They're massive and armed. This isn't just a signal. We've woken something we cannot fight." The first shockwave hit the planet's orbit. The ardent horizon shook violently as energy streams blasted across the void. Selene gritted her teeth and gripped the command chair. "Take us up, full impulse. Get us out of here." The ship roared to life, thrusters straining against the pull of the dead planet. Behind them, the hidden fleet emerged, ships shaped like jagged, blackened crystals, massive and angular, glowing faintly with alien power. Their formation was perfect, precise, terrifying. They moved with purpose, as if following orders that had been waiting millennia to be executed. The crew could hardly breathe. This was nothing humanity had ever faced. The Deathworlders, the name Selene gave them based on old human speculation, were finally awake. "Open a channel," Selene ordered. "Let's see if they're, negotiable." Static hissed through the comms, no response. Just a low, resonating pulse that seemed to echo in the hull itself. It wasn't communication. It was a signal, and it was deadly. "Captain," Harold said, fear creeping into his tone. "They're moving toward us, faster than our engines can manage. If they engage," he swallowed hard, "we won't last a minute." Selene exhaled slowly, staring at the screens. She knew the truth. The ardent horizon alone was hopeless. Their fleet, humanity's best ships, were light years away. Earth, still recovering from decades of space exploration, was defenseless against such a force. But panic was a luxury they could not afford. Selene straightened, her voice calm, firm, and steady. Set a course for the nearest human rendezvous point. Inform command. We've just made first contact and it's not friendly. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Full shields. Keep the signal on record. Every second of data we capture is a weapon for tomorrow. The ship jolted as the alien fleet's first scouts darted into view. Smaller than the command vessels, they were sleek, deadly, and fast. They moved like predators. And the humans realized, too late, that they had become the prey. The ardent horizon dodged and weaved through asteroid fields, using every trick in the book to evade detection. The alien scouts, however, adapted instantly. Their movement was coordinated, precise, almost unnervingly intelligent. "Captain," Harold said, voice tight, "they're analyzing us, learning. Every move we make, they adjust. This isn't just a hunt, they're studying human tactics." Selene's mind raced. Every instinct, every strategy she had trained for was being tested. Humanity had fought wars before, but never against an enemy like this. An enemy older, stronger, and unthinkably patient. "Keep the engines at full power," she commanded, "and deploy countermeasures. Every scrap of tech we have, use it. We need to survive long enough to warn Earth." Hours passed, though it felt like days. The alien fleet kept them at bay, never fully attacking but never letting them escape. Each maneuver tested the crew's nerves and skill. Every system on the ardent horizon groaned under the strain. Finally, after a tense stretch of silent pursuit, Selene spotted a faint glimmer on the long-range sensors, a human reconnaissance outpost. It was a small station, but it had advanced scanners and a relay to Earth. "Set course," Selene ordered. "We need to send what we've learned. The galaxy has to know the Deathworlders are awake." The alien scouts hesitated, holding back at the edge of the asteroid belt. Perhaps they were calculating, or perhaps they had simply underestimated human cunning. Selene didn't care. Every second counted. As the ardent horizon jumped to the station, a single thought rang in her mind. Humanity was not prepared. The Deathworlders were more powerful, more advanced, and more deadly than anything they had imagined. Yet, somewhere deep inside, she felt a spark. The spark that made humans resilient, unpredictable, and dangerous in ways no alien could ever anticipate. The ardent horizon docked at the station, and Selene immediately initiated transmission to Earth Command. The message was simple, urgent, and terrifying. "Distress. Unknown alien fleet awakened. Entire galaxy at risk. Humanity must prepare." Even as she sent it, Selene knew this was only the beginning. The Deathworlder Armada was awake, and for the first time in millennia, the galaxy would see what humans were truly capable of when cornered. The signal that had once been a cry for help had now become a beacon of war. And humanity was about to rise, or fall, in the shadow of an enemy they had accidentally unleashed. The crew of the Ardent Horizon worked through the night, repairing systems, analyzing alien technology, and preparing for the inevitable. Fear was everywhere, but so was determination. They were humans, and humans survived where others could not. Selene looked out at the dark stars, her hand resting lightly on the edge of the command chair. She whispered, almost to herself, "We didn't ask for this. But we will fight, and they will never see us coming." The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to a galaxy on the brink. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Deathworlder Armada stirred, ready to answer the call they had slept through for millennia. For humanity, the countdown had begun. The stars outside the human command station burned cold and distant, but inside, tension burned hotter than any fusion core. Captain Selene Rourke paced the command deck, her mind racing through possibilities. The ardent horizon had barely escaped the Deathworlder scouts, and the message to Earth Command was already in transit. Yet she knew the grim truth. No fleet could reach them in time, and Earth's defenses were unprepared. Humanity had only one weapon, its mind. "Captain," Lieutenant Harold said, looking up from the communication console. "Earth Command has received the transmission. They are panicked, but they trust your judgment. They're ready to give us resources for immediate countermeasures." Selene nodded, though her face remained tense. "Good. Begin coordinating with shipyards. We need decoy vessels, retrofitted fighters, and every research team working on alien technology. If we can't outgun them, we must outthink them." The humans moved fast. Engineers pored over salvaged alien data from the Ardent Horizon sensors. They found a startling fact. The Deathworlder's weapons were powerful, but their systems were highly hierarchical. Orders had to pass through command nodes, and without those nodes, the fleet slowed, hesitated, and sometimes froze entirely. Dr. Kara Lang, the ship's lead scientist, was both excited and worried. "Captain, their stasis technology is advanced, but it's predictable. Their command network is rigid. If we disrupt it, even temporarily, it could give us a chance to strike or at least escape. But it's risky. We've never interacted with tech like this." Selene met her gaze firmly. "Risk is our only option. Prepare a reconnaissance mission. I want a team aboard one of their outer ships. We need to see what they're made of and where they're vulnerable. Only humans could pull this off." The mission was set within hours. A small, agile ship, the Night Raven, piloted by Selene herself, would infiltrate the perimeter of the Deathworlder fleet. On board were Lieutenant Harold, Dr. Lang, and a hand-picked team of engineers and tacticians. Every member understood the danger. They could die within minutes, but they also understood the stakes. As the Night Raven approached the outer rim of the alien fleet, the scale of the Armada became terrifyingly clear. Thousands of ships spread across light years, each vessel black and jagged, exuding quiet menace. Sensors indicated automated weapons patrols and energy shields unlike anything humans had ever seen. "Stay sharp," Selene said, her hands firm on the controls. "We're ghosts in their system. They may be powerful, but they aren't perfect. Let's find the cracks." The ship slipped past initial patrols, weaving through asteroid belts to hide its approach. Dr. Lang monitored alien energy fields, feeding data to the human scientists at the station. Slowly, patterns emerged. "They're predictable," Lang whispered, awe in her voice. "Every patrol, every scan, it repeats on a strict timing cycle. Their ships adjust only after a command node signals them. If we move faster than the signal can propagate, we can slip through almost undetected." Selene allowed herself a small nod. "Good, that's our opening." Minutes stretched like hours as the Night Raven inched closer to the outer ships. Every sensor spike, every flicker of alien energy made hearts race. Then, suddenly, they spotted it, a massive ship, larger than most human cities, clearly serving as a command node for the fleet. "Target acquired," Harold breathed. "That's the brain. Hit that and we can disrupt everything outside it." Selene's eyes narrowed. "Observation only. We need to understand it before we strike. Gather as much intel as possible." From their vantage point, the humans analyzed alien communication networks, ship designs, and energy sources. They found weaknesses. The Deathworlder's AI was excellent at calculations but terrible at improvisation. Their ships were slow to adapt when systems failed, and their communication relied on high-energy signals that could be intercepted. "This is incredible," Lang whispered. "They are unimaginably strong but fragile in ways they would never suspect. Their strength is their order, and that order is their weakness." Selene smiled grimly. "That's humanity's advantage. We survive because we improvise. We think outside the rigid rules of an enemy that can't." As the reconnaissance mission concluded, the humans withdrew without alerting the fleet. Back at the station, Selene and her team began planning. They called it Operation Iron Echo, a bold gambit to disrupt the Deathworlder command node, sending confusion through the fleet and giving humanity a fighting chance. Meanwhile, engineers and strategists worked around the clock. Old cargo ships were converted into decoys and stealth vessels. Fighters were upgraded with makeshift energy shields and unconventional weaponry. Scientists used alien data to predict fleet movements, creating simulations for battle strategies humans had never faced before. The work was exhausting, but morale grew with each small victory. Engineers celebrated when a decoy ship successfully jammed a drone signal. Pilots cheered as a simulation showed a fighter slipping past enemy scanners. Humanity's resourcefulness, adaptability, and relentless courage were proving their worth. But even as humans prepared, the Deathworlders advanced. Their fleet spread across sectors, consuming any system they encountered. Entire planets fell under their control as stasis pods reactivated alien soldiers, ready for conquest. Reports from distant scouts were grim. The Deathworlders were more methodical, more merciless than anything humanity had imagined. Selene called a council of the top commanders. "We can't match them ship for ship," she said, her voice steady. "But we can outthink them. Their command structure is rigid, their tactics predictable, and above all, they have never faced humans before." Commander Terk, a grizzled veteran, shook his head. "It's a gamble, Captain. Even a minor misstep, we could lose everything." Selene's eyes blazed. "Every great human victory has been a gamble. This is no different. We will use their own strengths against them. And we will survive because humans adapt where others fail." The team began training relentlessly. Pilots practiced ambushes in asteroid fields. Engineers devised electromagnetic pulses to disrupt alien sensors. Scientists worked on software that could intercept alien commands, creating brief windows of confusion. Humanity's creativity became its greatest weapon. Weeks passed, and the first test of Operation Iron Echo began. Small fleets of decoy ships and fighters executed maneuvers designed to lure scouts into asteroid belts. The Deathworlders responded as predicted, sending reinforcements along strict channels, overloading their command nodes. Confusion spread through the outer fleet. Selene watched from the station, her fingers tracing the display of fleet positions. "They're responding exactly how we expected. Now our infiltrator ships move in. Timing is everything." The Night Raven and a dozen stealth craft slipped past outer defenses. Their target, the command node identified during the reconnaissance mission. Engineers had installed makeshift EMP devices, ready to disrupt alien systems. It was risky. If detected, the fleet could annihilate them in moments, but the element of surprise was humanity's edge. As the infiltrators approached, sensors lit up with data, alien shields, weapon rotations, energy surges. The humans adjusted their path, exploiting every flaw. The EMP devices activated. Energy readings spiked, then dropped. Alien ships twitched, faltered, and paused mid-orbit. "Status?" Selene demanded, tense. Harold grinned, though his voice shook. "They're frozen. Command nodes disrupted. Outer ships are pausing. We've got a window." Selene's smile was grim. "Good. Now we make them understand humans are not so easy to predict." Even as the EMP worked, the humans knew it was only temporary. The Deathworlders would adapt, repair, and retaliate. But this small victory proved something vital. Humans could fight back, not with raw power, but with cunning, adaptability, and daring. As the Night Raven retreated, the human fleet coordinated strikes using the window of confusion. Old cargo ships acted as decoys, fighters executed unpredictable maneuvers, and alien weapons misfired against their own. Humanity had turned a terrifying awakening into a moment of hope. Back at the station, Selene addressed her crew. "Today we showed the galaxy what humans can do. We are outnumbered. We are outgunned. But we are not outsmarted. The Deathworlders underestimated us. And that is their first mistake." But even in victory, the cost was clear. Reports came in. Distant colonies had suffered damage from alien incursions. The fleet was battered, resources stretched thin. Humanity had won a battle, but the war was only beginning. Selene stared at the stars once more, the same stars she had stared at when they first encountered the Deathworlders. "We've learned their weaknesses," she whispered. "We've made our stand, and now we prepare for the next move. The Deathworlder Armada will not stop. But neither will humanity. We will fight, and they will never see us coming." The humans worked through the night, repairing, planning, and adapting. Operation Iron Echo had succeeded. But in the shadows of distant space, the Deathworlder fleet stirred, learning, recalculating, and preparing for retaliation. The true test was yet to come. And humanity, small but unyielding, would rise to meet it. The human fleet moved like a shadow through the Zeta-9 system, using every asteroid, moon, and debris field as cover. Captain Selene Rourke stood on the bridge of the ardent horizon, her gaze fixed on the fleet's tactical map. The stars seemed calm, almost peaceful, but she knew better. The Deathworlder Armada had begun its full advance, and humanity was the target. "Captain," Lieutenant Harold reported, voice tight with tension, "scouts report multiple command clusters converging. They've repaired part of the disrupted nodes. They'll be fully operational in 12 hours. Selene exhaled slowly. 12 hours, that's all we have. Prepare all ships for coordinated strike simulations. Every pilot, engineer, and tactician must know their role. We can't win by force alone. We win by being unpredictable." At every station, humans worked feverishly. Old freighters were rigged with hidden thrusters to move in ways alien sensors could not predict. Fighters were upgraded with mirrored hull to confuse enemy targeting systems. Scientists modified EMP devices to temporarily blind Deathworlder weapons without triggering their fail-safes. "Humans are crazy," muttered Commander Terk, the grizzled veteran. "No one else would try these maneuvers, but it might just work." Selene's eyes gleamed with determination. "That's the point. They will expect conventional attacks. We will give them chaos instead." As the fleet advanced, the first wave of the Deathworlder scouts appeared, moving with terrifying precision. Their weapons glinted like black shards ready to strike, but the human fleet did not falter. "Decoys in position," Selene said. "Initiate false signals, make them chase shadows, lure them into the belt." The asteroid field became a deadly dance. Alien scouts followed the decoy ships blindly, crashing into floating rocks or veering into ambushes. Human fighters, small and fast, zipped between asteroids, striking from unexpected angles and disappearing before the aliens could respond. "This is incredible, Doctor," Kara Lang said from the lab station. "They're fast, but they are slow to adapt. Every time we move unpredictably, they hesitate. They've never seen this before." Selene nodded. "Good, keep it up. But remember, they adapt. Only one mistake and we could lose everything." Hours passed. The human fleet gradually drew the Deathworlder Armada closer to a trap, an uncharted pocket in the asteroid field rigged with EMP charges. Each charge was timed to disrupt alien ships' systems momentarily. "Coordinates locked," said Harold. "All imps ready." "This is our chance." Selene's heart raced. "Fire on my mark." When the command came, the charges detonated, sending waves of energy across the alien fleet. Ships shuddered, systems overloaded, and weapons went silent. Alien formations faltered. The human fleet took advantage, darting in to strike the disoriented ships. Fighters unleashed plasma torpedoes on command nodes. Engineers hacked into minor systems, creating confusion. It was chaos, and it was exactly what humanity needed. Amid the battle, the Night Raven slipped close to a major Deathworlder flagship. Selene and her team had planned this moment for weeks. The EMP device they carried could temporarily blind the flagship's shields, giving the humans a brief but critical opening. "Targeting node in sight," Harold whispered. "Ready for EMP activation." "Do it," Selene ordered. A pulse of energy surged from the Night Raven, washing over the alien flagship. Its shields flickered and died for just a few seconds. But in those seconds, human fighters struck with precision, damaging weapon arrays and disabling the primary communication system. The flagship wobbled, a massive shadow in the void, its systems in turmoil. Alien ships around it faltered, unsure of what orders to follow. Humanity had achieved a temporary but decisive victory. "Status?" Selene asked, her voice steady. Harold's grin was faint but triumphant. "Chaos. They're disorganized. Our fighters are hitting them hard. The fleet is slowing. We have momentum." But the victory was not without cost. Several human ships had been destroyed or severely damaged. Pilots they had trained for years were gone, lost in the black void of space. Selene allowed herself a brief moment of grief, then pushed it aside. There was no time for mourning. Survival demanded focus. "Pull back," she ordered. "Regroup at the station. Prepare for the next wave. This is only the beginning." Back at the human station, Selene addressed her fleet. "Today, we showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. Outnumbered, outgunned, but never outsmarted. The Deathworlders are learning, but we will stay one step ahead. Every move they make, we will anticipate. Every weakness they show, we will exploit." Engineers and scientists immediately began analyzing data from the battle. They discovered an unexpected advantage. The alien fleet relied heavily on centralized command nodes. Even partial disruption caused confusion across multiple ships. Humanity could fight small groups, harass the fleet, and survive by breaking their order. "It's brilliant," Lang said. "We can't match their firepower, but we can force them to fight on our terms." Selene looked at the tactical map, lines of potential maneuvers forming in her mind. "Prepare for Operation Iron Echo Phase 2. This time, we go deeper. We strike their main command hub, not just outer nodes, and we do it with everything we've got." The following days were a blur of preparation. Humans worked around the clock, repairing ships, upgrading weapons, and training pilots. Fear was everywhere, but so was determination. Every crew member knew that failure meant extinction, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. Finally, the day came. The human fleet moved into position near the central hub of the Deathworlder Armada. Decoy ships drew the outer defenses away, while stealth ships carried EMP devices and hacking systems to infiltrate the core. Fighters zipped between debris fields, small but deadly, striking from angles no alien could anticipate. Selene piloted the Night Raven herself, leading the stealth squad toward the command hub. Sensors showed massive energy outputs, ships, weapons, and command nodes all interconnected. Any mistake would trigger a catastrophic response. "Stay calm," Selene said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Remember, chaos is our ally. We fight unpredictably, strike swiftly, and retreat before they can react. That is how humans survive." The stealth ships slipped past the outer defenses, entering the heart of the alien formation. EMP pulses disrupted shields and communications. Fighters darted through openings, striking critical systems. The Deathworlder flagship faltered, its command nodes failing one by one. From the station, Harold monitored the progress. "They're doing it. The hub is destabilizing. Systems are failing." Selene allowed herself a faint smile. "Good. Now push further. Every ship in the hub is a target. Take them down." The aliens tried to respond, but their rigid command structure prevented effective coordination. Each attack, each maneuver, forced them into confusion. Humanity's strategy was working. The Deathworlder fleet, immense and terrifying, was faltering under a small but cunning human fleet. And then came the moment of truth. The central command node, a massive crystal-like structure, was exposed. Selene's team activated the final EMP pulse, sending a shockwave through the hub. Alien ships wobbled, weapons misfired, and communication links failed completely. For the first time, humanity saw the impossible. The Deathworlder Armada, massive and ruthless, in disarray. "Status?" Selene asked, heart pounding. "Chaos," Harold said. "Complete chaos. They're falling apart and retreating. The human fleet pressed the advantage, striking wherever the aliens were weakest. Ships that had seemed invincible now faltered. The hub's defenses crumbled under relentless, unpredictable human attacks. By the time the battle ended, the Deathworlder Armada had suffered serious losses. Survivors fled, retreating into distant sectors to regroup. Humanity had not destroyed them completely, but they had proven something vital. Humans could fight, adapt, and survive against the galaxy's most feared enemy. Back at the station, Selene looked at her crew. "We've done what no one thought possible. We've taken on the Deathworlders and survived, but the war is not over. They will return stronger and smarter, and when they do, we must be ready, because humanity does not run. Humanity fights, and humanity always adapts." As the stars stretched endlessly outside the station, humans prepared for the next phase. Operation Iron Echo had succeeded. They had turned chaos into advantage, fear into courage, and numbers into strategy. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Deathworlder commanders recalculated, learning from every human move. But they had underestimated one thing: unpredictability, courage, and ingenuity, the true power of humanity. Selene whispered to herself, staring at the distant horizon, "We are ready, and when they come back, they will never see us coming." The galaxy had seen a glimpse of humanity's true potential. And the next battle, larger and more dangerous, was only a matter of time. The calm of deep space was deceptive. In the orbit of Zeta 9, the Deathworlder Armada loomed like a mountain of black shards. Their fleet had retreated after the first major clash, but intelligence from reconnaissance satellites warned humanity. They were regrouping, repairing, and preparing for retaliation. Captain Selene Rourke stood on the Ardent Horizons bridge, staring at the holographic projection of the enemy fleet. Thousands of ships, every one deadly, every one relentless. "Captain," Lieutenant Harold said, frowning at the readings, "they've rebuilt part of the Central Command. If we don't strike now, they'll come at us with even greater force. And this time, they won't hesitate." Selene's jaw tightened. "Then we strike first. Humanity doesn't wait to be destroyed. We fight. And we win because no one can predict what humans are capable of." The fleet gathered, ready for Operation Iron Echo Phase 3, the final strike. Engineers had been working day and night, converting ordinary ships into unpredictable weapons. Scientists had adapted alien technology, creating shield generators that could bend light and confuse enemy targeting. Pilots trained for impossible maneuvers that would make the Deathworlders falter. Every element of human ingenuity was on display. "Decoys in position," Selene ordered. "Stealth ships ready, fighters on standby. Remember, speed, unpredictability, and precision. We win with our minds, not with sheer power." The human fleet advanced into the asteroid belt surrounding the Armada. Stealth ships slipped past outer defenses, undetected. Decoy freighters drew enemy attention, forcing alien ships into narrow, dangerous paths. Fighters darted between asteroids, striking where the enemy least expected. From the Night Raven, Selene watched the unfolding chaos with a sense of grim satisfaction. Every maneuver, every decoy, every EMP strike had been calculated. But the humans also relied on instinct and split-second improvisation, the very traits the Deathworlders could not anticipate. Dr. Kara Lang, monitoring alien systems, spoke rapidly. "Captain, we've discovered something incredible. Their flagship is highly dependent on a single power node. Disable it even briefly and the entire fleet will falter. But the node is heavily protected." Selene nodded. "Then we use what humans do best: improvisation. We distract their guards, blind their sensors, and strike where they least expect it." The team aboard the Night Raven prepared for a daring assault. Using asteroid cover and stealth technology, they navigated past laser grids, plasma turrets, and automated drones. Every second was a gamble. Detection meant instant annihilation. "Brace yourselves," Selene whispered. "This is it." With a sudden surge, the ship activated the modified EMP device. Energy waves rippled through the flagship systems. Shields flickered, weapons misfired, and communication signals faltered. For the first time, the Deathworlder fleet wavered. "Now!" Selene shouted. Fighters surged from hidden positions, striking weak points in the flagship's hull. Engineers remotely hacked auxiliary systems, forcing defensive turrets to misfire. Alien ships, relying on rigid command protocols, hesitated, confused by the sudden chaos. From orbit, Harold watched with tense excitement. "They're faltering, shields down on multiple ships. We have momentum." But the battle was far from over. Deathworlder reinforcements began to adapt. Their fleet moved to counterattack, weapons blazing. Human ships were outnumbered and outgunned, yet they refused to retreat. Every move was calculated, every maneuver unexpected. Humans relied on ingenuity over brute strength. Selene directed the Night Raven to the main power node. Using synchronized EMP bursts and hacking tools, they temporarily disabled the node's protective fields. The flagship shuddered under the assault. Fighter squadrons exploited the opening, striking at vital systems and causing cascading failures across the fleet. "Status?" Selene demanded. Harold's grin was fierce. "Complete confusion. Their flagship is compromised. Peripheral ships are disoriented. We've never had an advantage like this." Even as the Deathworlders scrambled to respond, humanity pressed forward. Pilots performed maneuvers that defied alien predictions, weaving through enemy fire and striking where least expected. Engineers adapted alien weapons mid-battle, turning the enemy's technology against them. Every action was a demonstration of human adaptability and courage. But the final challenge remained: the flagship itself. Its core held the command nodes controlling the rest of the fleet. Taking it down meant risking everything. "Captain," Harold said, his voice tight, "the only way to destroy the core is close-range strike. We'll have no support. If we fail, it's over." Selene's eyes narrowed, determination blazing. "Then we succeed. Humanity doesn't back down. We improvise, adapt, and fight until the end. This is our moment." The Night Raven and a squadron of elite fighters darted through the chaos, evading weapons fire and EMP blasts. They reached the flagship's core, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with alien energy. Selene activated the EMP one final time, disrupting the node's defenses. The core glowed wildly, systems sparking. "Hit it," she commanded. Torpedoes struck the crystal, detonating with a wave of energy that rippled across the ship. The flagship quaked, weapons faltering, and the rest of the fleet fell into disarray. From orbit, human ships surged forward. The Deathworlder formation collapsed under the relentless, unpredictable assault. Ships collided, energy blasts misfired, and alien crews scrambled in confusion. Humanity had turned the tide. Selene allowed herself a brief smile. "We did it," she whispered, though the battle was still dangerous. "We've shown them what humans can do." Even as the flagship collapsed, the remaining Deathworlder ships attempted to retreat. But humanity did not relent. Using precise strikes and decoy maneuvers, the fleet prevented their escape. The Deathworlders, for all their power and technology, were forced to acknowledge a truth they had never considered. Humans were not to be underestimated. Hours later, the battle ended. The Deathworlder Armada, once unstoppable, had been fractured. Survivors fled, scattered across distant sectors. Humanity had survived and had done so against overwhelming odds. Back on the ardent horizon, Selene addressed her fleet. "Today, we achieved the impossible." Outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy older and stronger than any we have faced, we prevailed. Not because of power, but because of courage, ingenuity, and unity. Humanity has proven itself. We have survived. We have triumphed. The crew cheered, though many faces were weary and marked by loss. Ships had been destroyed and brave pilots were gone, but the victory was undeniable. Humanity had fought its way out of the shadow of extinction. Dr. Lang approached Selene, awe in her eyes. "Captain, they never expected us to do this. The Deathworlders, they underestimated humans." Selene nodded. "And that is always our advantage. Our minds, our courage, our unpredictability. That is what makes humanity strong. That is why we survive where others fail." As the fleet regrouped, repair crews and engineers began working immediately, preparing for whatever the Deathworlders might attempt next. Even scattered, the alien fleet remained a threat, but humanity had shown the galaxy that humans were not a force to be ignored. Selene stared out at the endless stars, her mind already considering the future. "This is only the beginning," she whispered, "but they will never see us coming again. Humanity adapts, humanity survives, and humanity wins." In the silence of deep space, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Somewhere, distant worlds watched the remnants of the Deathworlder retreat. A new legend had been born. Humanity, unpredictable, resilient, and fearless, had faced a superior foe and had triumphed. The galaxy would remember this day. The day humans stood against the Deathworlder Armada. The day humans proved that ingenuity, courage, and unity were the greatest weapons of all. And somewhere, deep in space, Selene knew the same truth would echo. Humans had awoken, and no alien force would ever underestimate them again.